new subject called hermeneutics. You might have taken this subject in your previous theological studies, but as a reminder, let's talk about this again, because I consider this subject as one of the most important subjects for the Christian workers, especially for those who are in the pastoral ministry. This subject helps them to interpret the biblical passages accordingly and properly. The word hermeneutics has its root in the Greek god's name called Hermes, and that god called Hermes was considered to be the messenger and interpreter between God and his people. So the name hermeneutics is given after that name of God called Hermes, because that God was the interpreter and the communicator between God and his people. Now, hermeneutics is called the science and art of biblical interpretation, because it is a science because it has rules and principles. And it is also an art because it is flexible in application of the findings according to the situation and context. Hermeneutics has two categories. First one is general hermeneutics, which means study about the rules that govern the overall texts and passages, along with the study and analysis of the theological lessons, including the specific word meanings in the text. And then second one is the special hermeneutics, which means study about the specific genres such as parable, miracle, prophecy, types, and so on. Now, let's talk about the purposes of hermeneutics. Why do we study hermeneutics? We study hermeneutics, first one, we study hermeneutics to get the real meaning, intended meaning of the particular passage. It is very common that one particular passage means something to me and it means something else to other person. So in order to avoid that, we study hermeneutics to get only one and the real meaning of the passage. Second purpose, it is essential to step beyond observation. That means we should not directly jump to the application, but observe the passages and interpret it. We may be tempted to jump to the application directly, considering our own understanding of the passage, but without relying on our own understanding, we have to study, we have to humble ourselves, study, observe, interpret. After that only, we have to jump to the application. It is like doctors study about a particular problem in our body and then give a necessary prescription. They cannot directly give medicine, but they have to study about the problem and then do the necessary surgery or prescription after observation of after knowing the problem. Likewise, we apply the same thing to the biblical interpretation. Third purpose is to apply the biblical passages to our own life first. Before applying or before preaching it to others or sharing it to others, we have to apply the biblical passage to ourselves. So when we study, we have to be willing to apply to the lessons to our lives first before applying to the congregation or to others.